Hi, my name is Hananya.
Hello there, my name is Shameem.
And my name is Leslie. We're three international friends on a mission to write and publish our first novels. We are the Three Writing Amigas.
Hey,
Hello.
how are you guys?
Good. So I was just asking Shameem the name of her cat. This
Okay.
one who's decided to join us.
Yeah, this one's Aphrodite.
Nice.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
I like that.
Yeah, I don't have, because my name is not standard. Any animal that belongs to me has non-standard name as well.
I like that.
Fair.
I like
That
that.
it's not allowed to be shortened either. So everybody has to say, and people really struggle.
Yeah.
Because I've got Castiel, Guinevere, Geronimo, and Aphrodite.
I love it. I love it. You know,
I
it's
like
funny.
that.
In our family, we don't shorten names either. And we all have.
I hate it.
We don't do that.
You don't
I,
either.
I did call Hananya H, which is that's only in writing. Okay.
Yes.
Not in speaking.
It's okay.
But yeah, we don't do that. You know, we
we
say
don't.
everyone's full name all the time. So yeah, I don't like
Yeah.
it, especially because my name would be less, not
Yeah.
less.
No.
I would not like that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. I quite like H though as a nickname because I think
As a
that's
nickname.
quite cool. So
Exactly, that's pretty funny. I like that. You know, yeah.
That is
How
funny.
would even shorten Shameem? Like, what would you shorten it
oh
to?
my god, I think my brother called me Mimi for a while, which yeah.
When he was little, right? Because he couldn't
No, he's
no.
a year behind me in school. Teenagers,
I'm
yeah.
like trying to give the guy, you know, a break.
Little little break. Nope.
I think he did it to irritate me on purpose
well,
because
yeah, that's what brothers are for, apparently. And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Hananya had a great relationship with her sister. Oh no.
More or less. I would say
Yeah.
mostly yes.
Okay.
But she was very good at words, and I was not very good at words. So she would call me names and she would cuss me out. I was not very good at that. So what
Older
I
or
would
younger?
do,
Older or
she's
younger?
older
She's old. Well, see,
Yes.
there you go. You
by
just
3 years.
pattern there.
Yeah.
The older siblings are mean to the younger.
The younger ones, yeah. So I would lash out physically. So I would hit her, I'd kick her, like stuff like that, just because I couldn't come up with words.
I'm so pleased though, because everything you told us so far has been like skipping through the meadows, you know, like happy with your mum and everything. So I'm just glad that you have a little bit of adversity and some normal family drama. Do you know what I mean?
Shameem, you don't want to know. I have a lot of drama, but I was just a good kid in general, you know, like.
We weren't. Shameem and I are like, we've admitted we were not good children. So we don't know what it means.
I don't know. But yeah, it's not that I haven't been through
we
things,
just find it
though,
unusual.
but
yeah, I don't wish bad experiences on you, by the way.
Of course not.
I'm
already had them, so it's fine.
I'm just really pleased to hear that you know, you haven't got a wonderful relationship with your sister.
But it's just funny that we're talking about siblings and stuff because, you know, like with our characters, all of our characters have siblings. Or ancillary characters also are kind of like that, right? Those kinds of dynamics and stuff. So I was just wondering what your thoughts on that were, Hananya, in terms of your book.
It's funny that you said siblings, though, because I was preparing for the call and I had this whole like, okay, I need to mention this character. And then you said siblings. I was like, I didn't put the sibling on the list. And I feel really bad now.
I wonder what Freud would say about that.
It's just, I went through like the character profiles I did, and I only really did full character profiles for 4 characters. And then I did kind of minor character profile for 2 other characters because the rest is just kind of there. So
yeah.
And the sibling wasn't one of the characters. So
well, that's okay, I think, right? If
yeah, it's not a big role.
Yeah. I mean,
they might play a bigger role now with the revision though.
Yeah, I didn't do profiles for the siblings in my story either. They're there, but they're not window dressing, but they don't have arcs, right?
No, exactly. Not really.
Yeah.
So I don't really have a lot of arcs, I guess, in the story. It's basically my protagonist, Amelia, the princess, just to recap. Yeah. And then we talked about the antagonist, which is the king. Mm-hmm. And then I just have a couple more characters. So I have the love interest, which is Luke, who is very much so like a do-gooder, and he sees the good in people and he wants to protect people in the world and like stuff like that. And that's kind of how he is. Like, he's just good-hearted person. And
he's he's the love interest, but he's not all good. I mean, what's their relationship like? How do they meet? Can you tell me that?
Sure. Yeah. They meet on the town square, basically, like at the market. And she is pretending to be someone else.
Oh, I like that.
So yeah, she doesn't want to reveal that she's the princess. So she pretends to be someone else.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
And that's how they meet.
And so she's got to keep up a ruse then, to some extent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is, creates
conflict. He may be a nice guy, but does he feel betrayed then once he finds out? Like, how does that?
I need to figure that out fully in like this revision that I'm doing. But in a way, there is like something that he's not fully being honest about. So, there's like reason for kind of annoyance from both sides once all secrets are out. So, we're gonna
so you said you got four main characters.
Kind of. So I had like my protagonist, antagonist, love interest, and then secondary antagonist, which I'm not going to reveal.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, can you tell us how they get in there?
Relate to the story?
Yeah.
I feel like this is just going to be kind of one of those reveals in my story. So that's why I don't want to go into detail a lot. Sure. But there is a secondary antagonist that we don't meet until like later in the book. So that's why.
Okay, so it's not that we think they are an ally, and then it turns out they're an antagonist. They come in later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And have you kind of annotated the supporting characters, or the main characters, as allies or anything else? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So those are like the four main ones, I would say, that affect the story the most. Then we have Amelia's two best friends. So we have Will, who's kind of like the stable boy kind of character. He leads like all of that stable stuff. And he's very much so like someone she can talk to, and who's like the voice of reason, who's very supportive. He's like always there for her. And then we have Anna, who I need to figure out her perfect title, like levels that she is in the castle. But she is very much so like the idealist and a romantic, and she wants to like believe in like love and romance and like all of that. So she believes like that there is this amazing world out there, I would say. So she's a little bit of a dreamer, and that's where like Amelia can kind of connect with like, but I want true love, and like Anna would be like, oh, that's possible, like anything is possible kind of thing. So yeah, that's like kind of Anna. And then we have.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, do either of them, Will and Anna, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Do either of them challenge the princess though at any point about some of this?
Will does.
Will does. Okay. So
yeah, whereas Anna is very much so like, but if this is like what you want, you should go for it. Whereas Will is more like, you have to think about the consequences, kind of thing. And his weakness is that he's trying to like make sure that people don't make mistakes, but like he can't always prevent people from making mistakes, and that's kind of what he has to learn. So in a way, he does have like an arc, but it's just I don't think it reveals that much in this story. But yeah, that's like a little bit about Will.
What is he? So he wants to be a hero in his own. Is that, in terms of what his need is or his want is?
For Will, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he would kind of want to protect the people that he cares about from making like mistakes in a way. So he kind of tries to reason with them, and it's like, hey, I understand that this is what you want, but when you also think about the consequences, and he's just kind of there to listen to you and give like his opinion. But he's also not someone that would judge, I would say. Like, sure, he might not agree with what you're doing, but he can see why, like he can see the reasoning why. But yeah, he's kind of more
friction
like
than sometimes with the princess, because she's got to butt up against someone, right, besides her father, in order to be able to
so
talk
the
about,
kind of the thing that I have for Will is that he's like overprotective sometimes, and that is exactly what the king is. So that's why like Will and the king sometimes are like, a little bit understanding of each other, because they want to protect people that care about. So that's kind of how that relates, I would say.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then I cut you off. You were going to say someone else.
Yeah, we have the brother. So we have a little stepbrother for Amelia. His name is Max. And he's just a kid, He's just a stubborn little kid that knows that he has to do his lessons, but he doesn't want to. And he's just being like a kid about it, like, ugh, kind of thing. He just wants to have fun.
Did you say stepbrother? Sorry.
Yes.
So not half brother.
Oh, half brother. Yes, I totally got that wrong. It's half brother.
Oh, right. Because her mother is passed.
Yes, it's half brother. Right. I just got the naming wrong, but it's,
no. I just wanted to make. I just wanted to make sure, because I remember us talking about, the
half
mother.
brother. Yes, you're right. You're right.
We were talking about heirs, weren't we? I can't remember.
Right.
That's why I remembered.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does that mean so the step? But then there's a stepmom.
Yes, that's Olivia.
Oh, and how does she play into all of the drama?
So I would say Olivia is an ally. She is more like on Amelia's side than she is on the king's side.
Well, that's interesting. Why would she?
Really unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah. She supports her husband, but she also, she realizes that Amelia is very much so like, but I want to be able to have a choice. And my dad is forcing me, and that's not what I want. So Olivia kind of hints at things that she could do, kind of in a way. So she's very subtle about it, but she is more or less an ally. So yeah, I would say like one of the examples is there is a big ball where she's going to meet like suitors. And Olivia basically says, well, you can let the suitors know you're not interested, and then the suitors might not make an offer. So then you can kind of, in a way manipulate who will and will not make an offer. So if you just sigh really loudly, or if you're like just not interested, looking away kind of thing, then you might be able to let that person know you're not interested without saying it, so that they will not be interested in you. So she's kind of trying to help that way, in like a more subtle kind of way, I would say.
But it's interesting on two levels. On one, I think that rings very true to women, particularly of that era, right? Because women didn't really have power, so their power was behind the scenes, right? They would, and which of course, ultimately got used against us, that women are manipulative, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
but those were the only avenues, right? So she's doing that, and in a way, it seems like it's yet another kind of female empowerment storyline that you have in your story, right? Because she and we don't know, or you can tell us if we're going to learn how it came to be that she ended up marrying the king, right? Because you haven't talked about that. Maybe you will, but. So she's in this relationship with the king, has another kid who's, male, so it's going to be the heir. We learned all that stuff. And so it's like she's playing out, this is me making up, she's playing out or her desire for power, independence, control, whatever, by helping, the princess to achieve that for her.
Yeah. I just think that Olivia kind of accepts her situation, so she's not trying to like seize power or something, but she's just more kind of trying to advise Amelia in how to best approach situations, or kind of how to go about living this life, but then also kind of having an influence of like the choices that are being made for her in a way. So yeah, I'm gonna have to rewrite the whole ending to this, but in the original ending I had Olivia was very much so also someone that ended up helping Amelia a lot towards the end. So
and she's not going to now.
It's just I have to rewrite the ending, so I don't know how I'm gonna have that specific thing come back. I kind of do want to, but I have to kind of figure out how to approach it.
Yeah. Are we allowed to ask why you feel you need to rewrite the ending without you telling us, giving it?
Well, I can tell you, Shameem, because you have read the chapter that I'm completely cutting, so that means it changes the ending.
Okay.
Well, if you're cutting the chapter, can we talk about that chapter? Or no? Or does it? No. I can tell by the look.
It might be rated R, so let's not let's not talk about it.
It's got too many spoilers in it, so okay, we're not gonna talk
spoilers. It's just it's very much rated R, is what it is.
Oh, I have not actually broached that part of the subject with the romance thing. Are your books very R rated?
This one is probably not gonna be. But
are you taking all that?
Listeners,
I'm taking everything out. No, I'm taking all of it out.
Why is that then?
Well, the specific chapter that Shameem has read, that's gonna go. So that changes how the story ends, because that is a very big, impactful kind of chapter that we're not gonna have.
That's a radical major change then.
Yes. Yeah.
So
that changes all of it after that.
What made you want to do that then?
I mean, it's the advice that I'm just gonna work with, I guess.
But is it something that we know the advice because
it's just.
Do you want that? Does it make sense to you?
Who's the advice? I'm missing this. What advice?
Well, from the book coach.
Oh, is that what he said?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
But yeah, basically the advice is to cut it, and that is because it, like I said, it's a very rated R scene, and it's also kind of like, is that what they would do to a princess kind of thing? So, I mean, I guess I could say, but it's just basically in that chapter there are things that are being done to the princess.
Okay.
In a very non-consensual way.
Gotcha.
And she's being harmed.
Okay.
And like stuff like that. And I have her like full on scarred and everything. But that is the question of like, would that happen?
Okay.
To a princess? Like, would that be how they would treat a princess?
Well, I think the book coach needs to watch Game of Thrones, because
the Red Wedding.
Yes.
And lots of other princesses horrific.
I've thought about this for a very long time, but I think for this specific chapter, I had originally written it, and I think maybe it was part of me that was like, okay, there needs to be something drastic that happens here, because we're reaching that like all is lost point kind of thing. And I need something more than just what I had. I was like, there needs to be something more, and that's what I wrote this for. But in a way, it almost kind of felt throughout the story that it was very unexpected. There was no lead up to it.
Okay.
And it almost felt like it was just put in for drama and dramatic effect, and not necessarily something that ties into the story.
Okay.
Um,
So that
makes sense.
Yeah. So that's why like I am kind of rewriting how that like all this lost moment kind of builds up.
Right.
And how that affects the story more, because how I had it now, it just felt like something dramatic had to happen, and that's what I had to happen.
I just put it.
And I just put that in because I was like, well, that could happen probably. So I just threw that in. Whereas it makes more sense the way that I have it in my head. It makes more sense throughout the story, I would say, when I'm trying to like go in and plant some little seeds that you can not really see it come, but that it's like a little bit more of like, oh, that is what that related to, kind of thing.
Right. That's different. Something big happens to her, and something big needs to happen because you're now doing the building blocks towards that.
Yeah.
But how
that happens is different.
How it happens is different. What the building blocks are, but they have to be building blocks, right? Because we can't. We all have that moment in our book, or we should, right? Where it's the I have it, you know. Yeah. Where
it builds up.
It builds up, and the explosion happens, right?
And now, like originally, how I had it, it was very much so there's all of a sudden an explosion, and you didn't really see it coming, and it was just like, Whereas now, I kind of want to have those building blocks so that it keeps rising until it explodes.
Yeah, and
which makes more sense.
Even if with surprises, like you said, but you can think back, and go, oh,
and be like,
oh, yeah, okay,
exactly. So that's kind of how how it makes more sense for the story to change it. Because then I can have the building blocks to go to that moment.
Yeah.
Whereas in the original kind of how I had it, it was just more like, and now we're throw something in.
Right.
So that's why I'm changing.
Always happens in a first draft, right? Because like you don't know, like we've talked about that. You kind
fourth
of
draft.
Okay. Even in fourth draft. Well, mine I think is going to be. What is mine going to be? Let's see. Third person, first person, coaching. So it's going to be. That's what I'm about to start. Fourth draft. But because sometimes you don't know, like you have to, one of the things I'm really learning with this is that because novels are so much more involved, or should be,
definitely,
that it really takes you as the writer a few times through the whole draft to see things,
to get there.
And to fix things right, and to get there. It's not I mean, I know
with
this
big change.
And if you're successful, you will have to do another edit with your editor.
Of course, like another two probably, because you have to do one with your agent and then one with your editor.
Yeah.
At least. So
at least.
At least, which is fine. But with this specific like edit that I'm gonna do, it's gonna definitely ripple everything in the story, because that specific moment also determines like some character motivations and like things that happen later on, which I have to rewrite, which I still want to keep, but I have to rewrite kind of how we get there because we changed something here.
That's right.
So there's definitely some things I'm still like trying to figure out on how to best approach it towards like that moment and after that moment.
Yeah.
So that's why that whole Olivia moment where she is the ally, I need to kind of figure out how to best approach that. But
but it really sounds like you're close to your story again.
Yeah, especially when I'm talking about it, it helps. But I think I have one more character at least, because I have so many characters, but like one that is a big one, I would say, is Philip, who's the head of the Royal Guard, and who is very much so like almost that father figure that Amelia wished she would have.
Interesting.
So they have like this special connection. So
how
he's
does he
like
play into
important.
The story? Like he's important to her because he's an ally. So how does he play into the story for her?
I would almost say like he is very much someone that obviously like duty, right? Because he reports to the king.
Right.
But I think he's like the kind of person that sometimes just pretends he doesn't know that Amelia has done something.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like, I'm just gonna look away, pretend I didn't see this kind of thing, or, you know, kind of trying to ease kind of the punishment that Amelia might get from her father, or like.
So does he try to influence the king on Amelia's behalf, or
not really?
Okay.
But he also, like, if he would know something, he wouldn't necessarily report it straight away, I would say. Right. But yeah, he is also an ally towards a part of the story where we get to a certain point where something happens, and and he helps Amelia out a little bit. Like, yeah, they run into each other, and like, you know, obviously he can see something's wrong, and he'll be there for her. So yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of like he's that special character that can have like the supportive fatherly feelings and like loving, and who's very proud of Amelia for like, you know, doing things, and especially towards the ball, because it's a very big moment in the story. He's just very much so like, I'm really proud, kind of. He's like the proud man for her, whereas the king is very much so like the king. Yeah, and he doesn't show a lot of emotion, whereas Philip can show that emotion because he's not like that. You know what I mean? Like, he's not the king, so he doesn't have to be.
Well, he doesn't have to put on he doesn't have to put on a brave face or a stiff upper lip, so to speak.
But also,
even though he is like, you know, duty and like,
but in his role, the daughter is commodity, right? In a way.
Yeah. So he would say that, you know, he does everything to protect her and out of love, but that's not how it is perceived.
Right.
So, yeah. So I would say Philip is an important character. At least, I don't know. He's very close to my heart, and I would say like very close to Amelia's heart. So.
Why is he close to your heart?
I don't know. I just feel like he's kind of like that supportive man that, you know, you might need in your life sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's like close to me, because I don't have a supportive man in my life. Like, I don't have my dad in my life that much, and I don't have my grandpa anymore, and like, you know, it's hard for me.
I understand. It's okay.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. It means that, you know what it means? Yeah. It means that you're writing real emotion into your story.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's just, you know, because we also lost like our good friend, you know, at the end of last year, and he was my grandpa's age, but he was also the man that I could turn to if I needed something. And I don't have that. So that's why Philip's very close to my heart. Because I want, like, you know.
It sounds like that's why he's there in the book as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's wonderful. I mean, what a gift we have as writers, so really, to be able to then create characters that fill needs for us. I think it was Shameem, I can't remember which one of you said it last week or whatever, that we are, no matter what, I think it was you, Shameem, no matter what, we are in our stories. We're writing pieces of ourselves, even when we don't think we are.
There's always a piece of you in there.
Always a piece of you in there. And maybe sometimes you don't know exactly, you don't realize it, right? And then you're talking about it, so it comes up. But I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Especially because Amelia doesn't have a great relationship with her father. I don't have a great relationship with my father. So then Philip is just like, you know, the man in her life that she needs sometimes. And she has Will, but, you know, it's different.
But that, because they're peers.
Yeah. Right. And then Will is just, you know, there as a friend, but Philip is more so like father figure almost to her, I would say. Like, he would see her as her daughter, even though they're not, but like, he just, you know, feels that way about her.
Yeah.
I don't think he would ever say it, but
I feel like everybody's gonna like him when they read the book.
I hope so. Yeah.
I think that's
so.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Geronimo. That's Geronimo.
That goes back. The cat, the other cat, or another cat. Just over the top of Shameem's chair. That was kind of perfect timing. Yeah. I guess that's Geronimo. So he is trying to say change the subject.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, so you have another character. We will.
Yes, I think that's the last one.
Oh, okay.
I think because this one like affects the story, so we're gonna have to talk about him.
Okay.
This guy is called Marco.
Okay.
And he becomes one of her new guards. So he, like, in the beginning of the story, we see him enter the castle. We don't know who he is, but it's a guy who's like trying out to be one of the guards and like goes through his shadow. And he becomes like her guard.
Okay.
But
her personal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she very much so is like, I can suss someone out very quickly. Like, she will watch all the guards and be like, you're someone who pays attention. And like, I can sneak away with this person, but I cannot do that with this person, kind of thing.
She's very smart. I like it.
So she knows with Marco, there's no way. He's too attentive. Kind of like, she sussed him out and she's like, this is a good one. So I'm gonna have to watch myself around him. Right. But she will tease him a little bit on like the first day and like kind of see what he would do, like how he reacts and stuff. But the biggest thing is that he is the best friend of Luke. Like brotherly best friend.
Okay.
They're like brothers, which means Marco will find out that Emilia was not where she was supposed to be, that Luke was meeting some girl from the castle. So like,
and he's gonna put
he finds out
together.
Yes. So, it's very much so like, what's gonna happen kind of thing. But yeah, Marco is like, he's smart, so he will figure it out.
Is he a good guy or a bad guy?
No, he's a good guy because he cares about his best friend,
Okay.
Oh, right. Because that's true. Because it would be worse for Luke than right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So he will like be there for Luke, and he will think about like Luke.
Yeah. I'm seeing this as a film as well with this cast of characters, and it sounds like it would be a good one.
Yeah.
Me, of course, I'm thinking TV series.
Okay, TV
either
series,
way,
limited series,
either or both.
Actually, can I just say? From now on, I want to say TV series because you get way more detail in the series than you do in a film.
And so, I think with the intricacies of your story, how you're kind of laying it out with these characters and how, you've got several small roles, but they're all pivotal, important. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of thing that, you really can weave into that kind of, Bridgerton kind of thing, right?
That's why I struggled a lot with doing the character profiles because I didn't know where to stop. I was like, but they're all important.
Right.
Because they all have an effect in a way. They might not have their own character arc, but they will affect the story.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, have you thought of, and I'm not saying that you should, because, have you thought of in terms of if you have a lot of characters that you combine some?
Yes.
Does it help with the narrative that way?
That's what I'm thinking of doing with Anna, because Anna was now originally like as a kitchen maid, but I'm gonna probably make her more the handmaid to Emilia, because I had a handmaid for Emilia because I was like, well, that's the proper way in a castle, and like, but I was like, she doesn't really have a purpose. Like, she's there because I have to have her there, but like, I was like, she's not an interesting character. She's not there. She doesn't add anything. So that's why I feel like combining her with Anna. So like making Anna that.
Right.
So that
and also what you said before. I mean, the handmaid is more likely to, well, first of all, she's in the bedroom, right? Mm-hmm. So, and of course they dish and they can share.
Yeah.
But the kitchen maid, like, would probably maybe never see the princess, right? Right.
Yeah, like my theory was always that those were the only 3 kids, so that's why they had to be friends in a way.
Right.
Because Emilia, was the only kid in the castle, and then she wasn't allowed to go outside, so she didn't have anyone there. And then Will and Anna were the 2 other kids.
Right.
She didn't have anyone else. as like kids. So that's why they became friends. That's what I tell myself.
Well, that makes sense though, because you probably would. I mean, she's running around, whatever. Yeah, she probably would.
And especially when her mother died, because like she was young when her mom died. Like she was 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and they were there then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why Will and her got so close, because Will's mom also died when he was younger. Okay. So he understands kind of. So
and that's why she can trust them too, because they basically
have that special bond. Yeah.
Right. Even though they're from different, she's
levels.
The princess or not. But no, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Trauma bonding. I was reading about that earlier.
Oh, really? What is that? Trauma bond? I've never heard that phrase before.
Oh, I'm researching my narcissist, so I'm going to proper derail the conversation, but I was just like, ooh, trauma bonding. I was just reading about it. When two people connect, sometimes not in a good way, but because they've gone through similar traumas or being drawn together by like magnets by two really bad incidents, but it's not always, doesn't always pan out in a good way.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's interesting, right? And that would bring people together. Right? Yeah. Okay, what else do you want to tell us?
About my story?
Yes, I can't wait to read it.
I have one.
Okay.
But it's kind of an interesting one because this person doesn't actually show up in the book.
Oh.
But we get to meet this person through letters.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, you can tell us about that.
Basically, this is one of Emilia's closest friends, like royal friends.
Yeah.
So he is also royal.
Okay.
From a different kingdom, who lives like far away. She's not allowed to visit him, obviously, but they met because as kids they were betrothed.
Okay.
So they used to be like engaged, I would say, as kids. But something happened to like the other kingdom, which results into her not being able to marry him. In a way, like something had to happen, something had to change. So they're not betrothed anymore, but they're just really good friends. Okay. So they write to each other because they can't see each other in real life. So
interesting.
Yeah.
And how does he affect the story?
She will like tell him stuff. So like confident, and also kind of like he's invited to the ball for her birthday, but he can't come. So like he'll write about that. And then she will like confide in him.
So he's
like
more of a vehicle so that we can get into
process her emotions.
I was gonna say, that's the perfect angle and media for giving another perspective that you wouldn't ordinarily know about. Just like,
yeah, that's clever.
But yeah, I'm planning on having him show up in book 2. So.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, no, that's clever because, that's one of the gabillion things I'm learning about writing a novel as opposed to a show is how do you, in an interesting and active way, impart some of the internal, angst, dialogue, whatever motivations of
I have way too much of that already, so I just need to kind of, save it for the letters and not repeat it. But yeah.
But that's really a good way because you need it by having different ways. Like she's got Will, and each time you change to it, it's almost like TV. Change a different angle, it gives energy. Because if it's always every time Will shows up, she's pouring her heart out. Well, that gets tired after a while.
Yeah, because right? It's like, is that the only thing they can talk about?
Right, exactly. So, oh my God, it's so cute.
This is Castiel. There's only one now.
They're all making their debuts in this episode. I love it. Cat?
Eh?
What's the name of this cat?
He's Castiel.
That's Castiel. I love it. So we've got 3 of 4 now today.
Yes. There's only one left. Guinevere.
Sorry. No, I think that's really clever, and I think that's interesting. You have, but I also think, and this is the thing, I don't read a lot of, the book's not fantasy, so I don't even know I was going to say that. I'm not that bright, so a lot of characters are hard for me. it takes me a while, like, to get into any book, but I think that it's interesting how you're using them. I like this book.
And you're gonna meet them gradually. You're not all gonna meet them at the same time. So
no.
Yeah.
So look, I had to make a list to keep my own characters straight. I mean, this is this is me.
That's why I keep going. Oh no, I have one more.
This is my issue.
That's why I'm like, oh, I forgot the sibling.
Right.
Yeah.
But
it's all in my head. So it's fine.
It's amazing. I gotta write them down. I write everything down though.
I was gonna say, when it comes to my turn, I am like, got my other screen there, got my list of characters and what's going on with them, and my eyes will be going like this.
I mean, in a way, I feel like my stories live in my head for so long before they actually come out to the page. So it makes sense to me. Like, I will think about my stories nonstop.
I know, I can tell though. I feel like you have this connection with your characters. And as I've been listening to what you've been saying, I'm thinking, I don't know if I'm that close to mine. I feel like I need to get
that's
into the
okay.
page.
You don't have to, but
No, I know, but I can see how it would make the connection better.
I think the difference is, if I can, Hananya and I have been living with our stories. We're on our 4th drafts.
It's been years.
Just finished your 1st. When you're going to go now over it again, and you're going to, that's going to be your journey too. And you're going to realize that you going to become closer to them as you have to learn about their motivations and write it and then rewrite it and rethink it. And that's, I think, no, really, honestly, I think that's the difference, is that we have lived with our stories longer.
Yeah, because Hananya, earlier on, I noticed that you said we, and I was like, we, in my head. I was like, what's the we? And then I realized,
don't know. That's how I say it.
You were doing the we because it's you in the middle of all these characters. I was just like,
I say we all the time when I talk about my story. I don't know why, but we, who's the we? And I'm like, the characters and the readers that go along with us, like,
you're in your story. That's awesome. You know what? Hananya says the royal we, because, princesses and kings and all.
Yes.
So should the royal we, the royal us, something like that, get a cup of coffee?
Should we, as royalty?
Should we, as royalty, recline to the coffee room?
Yes, please. That would be divine.
Well, thanks for hanging out with us. Be sure to follow Hananya at Hananya Leclerc on Instagram and YouTube. Follow Shameem on Instagram at rnpinkhamauthor. And Leslie on Instagram at ld.feral.writer. Or catch all of us on YouTube at 3 Writing Amigas. Until our next hangout, keep on writing.